What's up, guys? Jonathan Stuckey here. Just did a little Seaguar order. As you can see, I needed to restock on a few things. Gonna take a few minutes with you, go over all their lines, everything that I carry and that I throw every day, and give you an idea of what I use them for, and kind of what's what in the whole lineup. First up, Red Label, 10, 12, and 15. Red Label is going to be my go-to for most of my cranking applications. It's, like I said, general cranking line, rattle trap, Echo 1.75, 3XDs, 5XDs, what have you. Any of my crankbaits, that's my go-to line. It's really affordable. I can fish a couple events with it, strip it all off, put some brand new on. Doesn't break the bank. And holds up really well. It's a fantastic line. Now, in those situations where you're fishing somewhere that's ultra clear water, Seaguar and VizX. This is going to be my line for, like I said, those clear water situations where I feel like the fish may be a little finicky. They might be seeing that Red Label a little bit, and I need something just a little bit more invisible, a little more translucent, something they may not be able to see as well to get that extra bite or two. And VizX it's a good price point on this line. I used to use VizX for a number of things, crankbait, shaky heads, jigs, just about everything. And then broadened my horizons a little bit, got into the full Seaguar line, and I'm glad I did. And VizX worked out great, but there's just so much more out there in the Seaguar lineup that you can use for different situations to have a little bit more confidence and fish a little bit better. Real quick, I just saw this in there. I figured we'll talk about it. It's the Seaguar Mono Cinchi. This is their mono that's been out for several years. I keep 1,000 yards of this in the boat because I use it as a backing line. Anything that I've got fluorocarbon, braid, or whatever on as a main line, I take that Cinchi and I'll fill the spool up 30–40% of the way, 50% depending on what I'm doing. If it's strictly a flipping reel, I'll go a little bit further up on the spool with it. But what that does is it turns one spool of, say, Smackdown into two spools. You can fill up 2 reels off of 150–200 yard spool versus eating that whole spool of Smackdown, whole spool of VizX, eating it all up on one reel. Spread your money out, helps you save a little bit, helps you keep some money in your pocket so you can buy some other things. Moving right along though, Seaguar VizX. I keep 1,000 yards of this, 17-pound test. This is gonna be my line for pitching docks with a jig, fishing in really rocky areas with a shaky head jig, anything that's going to be in contact with some structure. A lot of the times the VizX will hold up a little bit better. It won't get nicked as bad. It's got that extra abrasion resistance. It's still really soft. You can still cast it a mile if you need to. So you can cast that football head out over a really deep point, make a real long cast, or you can flip it right up under a dock 10 feet from the boat. Next, we'll hit on this, cans and braid, 500 yard spools, 20 and 15. I use Kanzen sometimes on my spinning reels. It's a really good braid. It's good, a small diameter, kind of smooth, casts pretty well, holds up, lives up to its test rating. It's a great general purpose braided line. Doesn't break the bank, saves you a little bit of money. But for most situations, Seaguar Smackdown. Drop that one. A 50-pound, 20-pound, and down here on the floor, it's a 15. The 15 and the 20 are going to go on most of my spinning rod setups. Really mainly 15 on the spinning rod for main line to go to a fluoro leader for drop shot and stuff like that. The 20 pound, sometimes I'll put on my top water casting reel for, say, my stutter step, and the stutter step will get a mono leader with the 20 pound braided main line, and it's a really good setup. You can, with that small diameter braid, you can really cast that thing a mile, get it way out there, cover a lot of water really fast. The 50 pound is going to be my braid for, say, muddy water conditions, pitch and heavy cover, swim jigs, chatterbaits, anything like that in a muddy situation where I'm not worried about the fish seeing the line so much. And then actually on my swim jig, I fish Lake Martin with smackdown braid on a swim jig, because I know I don't have to worry about the fish breaking it off. It's still really small. It's got a nice green color. Doesn't show up real well in that water anyways. And I don't give the fish that much credit most of the time. If I'm just not getting the bites, then maybe I'll think about switching, but most of the time I don't give them that much credit. If they want that swim jig, they're gonna come up and eat it. And I know with that stuff, whether he's around a stump, he's buried up in the grass or whatever, I can set the hook as hard as I want to, snatch them right out of that cover, get them coming to the boat, and then I can back off if I need to. But I don't like to give the fish that chance to bury me up in something and lose him. One fish costs you a lot of money. Talking about the smackdown to the leader, the 20 pound, I go right to a 20 pound ripping for my casting gear for top water baits. This mono is really strong, casts really well, holds up to that 20 pound rating, and just like all monos, it floats. If I could fish a fluorocarbon leader on a top water bait, I would, but fluorocarbon's gonna sink, gonna cause that bait to nosedive a little bit. You're not gonna get the action you want. So pick you up one spool of this. One little spool will last you a long time on a top water leader. For my 15 on my spinning gear for my drop shots and stuff like that, Seaguar Finesse Fluorocarbon 7.3, or the, I actually am out of them, but the 6 pound or the 8 pound rating. This stuff is really sensitive, really soft, but really strong at the same time. In those drop shot situations, I fish braided line because I want that extra sensitivity. I want to feel that really slight little bite whenever the fish just comes up to it and grabs it. I want to know he's there. I want to know I need to set the hook. So if you fish braided mainline, then you go to some form of a leader, and it's not as sensitive as your braided line, guess what? You just killed the whole purpose of throwing that braid. So I fish the Finesse Fluoro because it's ultra sensitive, really strong, does what I need it to do. If there is a situation where I think I need a heavier leader, such as I'm fishing 20 pound on my spinning reel and throwing a weightless fluke up against, right on the edge of a grass line, something like that, I keep a spool of this 10 pound Tatsu in the boat. This is the cream of the crop. This is the best fluorocarbon on the market, hands down. I don't care what anybody says. This is the stuff right here. Tatsu. Super soft, super sensitive, no memory, and every bit of 10 pounds, I would say this 10 pound Tatsu probably could probably put a 15 pound rating on it. This stuff is stronger than it says, holds up really well, doesn't get nicked up near as bad. You'll retie a lot less, and you'll feel and get a lot more bites. Kind of pricey, but like I said, it's worth every dime. Once again, Tatsu 15 pound, 1,000-yard roll. It's kind of pricey, but when I'm fishing my shaky head or other bottom contact baits where I need to know when that fish breathes on it, need that extra sensitivity, that extra strength, and that extra photo confidence or what have you, this is it. This is the line. There's no question about this line. It holds up, it does its job every time, no matter what. lastly, the flipping line. Flipping braid, I fish in 65. Some guys choose to fish 50. To me, this 65 is it's what I want whenever I'm flipping into some heavy cover, flipping into matted grass. I want to know that I got that extra 15-pound rating, that extra little bit of thickness of line, you know, in case I get that nick. I want that extra insurance, so I go with the 65, but you can feel free to use the 50 if you like a bunch of guys do. This stuff, the other reason I choose 65 is because it's Seaguar. It's got a smaller diameter than most braids out there, still really smooth, and it's black. You don't have to worry so much about that Sharpie keeping your line marked up every time you retie, every time you rack off a few feet to get to some fresh line. This stuff is black all the way to the bottom. Really, really great in those Florida situations, you know, tannic water, black bottoms, a lot of black moss and stuff like that. It's going to camouflage itself, and you don't have to think about it all day. Last but not least, flipping fluoro, 20-pound in both of them. I'm going to be flipping the black braid. Every now and then, though, if I feel like those fish are a little bit finicky, or you know they might be seeing that braid and they back off, and I'm giving them a little bit more credit than they're due, I'll switch to the flipping fluorocarbon. This stuff is you know, designed by Denny Brower, just like the flipping braid. He's a flipping legend. It's got really insane knot strength, and you don't have to worry about damaging this line by feeling that bite and setting that hook, having a little bit of slack, and shock loading your line. This stuff is not going to get weaker from that hit it takes. It's going to hold up, it's going to do its job, it's not going to stretch, it's not going to lose its test rating. It's great stuff. The other situation, and the main situation that I like to use the flipping fluoro, is if I'm flipping woods, flipping laydowns, matted up wood, anything like that. You know, braid tends to dig into wood, so to avoid those hang-ups and avoid, you know, especially if you set the hook in that fish and he goes to pulling, and you're taking that braid and you're sawing it back and forth, all you're doing is digging further and further down in that wood. This stuff right here, it's not going to dig down in the wood, it's not going to cut into anything. It's going to hold up, keep the fish buttoned up, and let you get in there and slide them right out. If you got any questions, feel free to leave some comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for your time.